Yay! We're live. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Yay! We're going to be talking about Sword Art Online, War of Underworld, The War of the Underworld, episode 13. Super excited to be back to talk about the show. I got some exciting guests with me. Let me see if I can point the other. There we go. We got Alex Von David over here. We got Imari Williams over here. And we got the other way. Greg Chun over here. Yay!
What's up? What's
Welcome,
up?
everyone.
The Brady Bunch.
So if you're watching this live, please comment, have your questions. And if you're watching later, leave your comments down below. So how does it feel to be back? We'll start with Alex. So now it's been a little while. I was going to say we talked back in like February, March, and now we get to do it digitally. Yay.
Yeah. Which is sad. But
I wish we were
this
all
looks like one of those Real Housewives reunions, you know, where everybody's talking and they just start going at each other. Yeah.
So Alex, how does it feel to be back and have the season back?
I mean, we're not finished recording yet. We still have a couple more hours to do tomorrow, Monday, and then we'll be done, unless there's pickups. It's weird. When we started recording this last batch, I don't think I talked with Imari or Greg about it, but when we started recording this last batch of episodes a couple weeks ago, it was weird because it's ending, and it felt bittersweet. Like my last session with Bryce, you know, was it was weird, you know, it was really weird. And you know, I don't know what's going to happen with more Sword Art, or if I'm even going to be involved with it at this point, because it's so far down the line. I mean, who knows? And who knows what the client's going to want? Maybe the client's going to want someone else working on it. Maybe I won't be available. Maybe I'll be dead. Who knows? You know, there's you don't know.
This is 2020, Alex. If you ever take that shit back,
last one is
right
the most
now,
likely.
dude.
Well, you just don't know. You just don't know. So it's kind of like it's the end of the show, and I feel kind of sad that it's ending. But there's a sense of relief because recording from home really. I can't speak for Imari and Greg. But for me in particular, I don't like it. I think it's pretty awful. Yeah. And so I'm glad that's ending. But just that it's Sword Art. I'm a little sad. Yeah. I'm a little sad that we're done.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's your baby. Listen, dude, like I'm gonna interject real fast and say that, like, I mean, the work you've done, just voice work and what you strive for, and and the way you're meticulous and the way you care about the franchise. If you were not to come back on for future stuff, they would just be insane and it'd be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you helped me flesh my character out. I always get people go, you do a great job, Bercouli, but I mean, I would not have it if you did not, you know, if you weren't like, Imari, slow down. Amari, slow down. Amari, slow down. Amari, slow down. Amari, slow down. You say it slower. You say it slower. I wrote the character for you to say slower. I'm like, okay. Like, just when I'm in there, you know, like all the paces that he has and stuff is stuff that we've fleshed out. So
we all cared about it in the end, you know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about Greg. Greg, did you care about it?
I don't think I can continue until Imari explains his shirt. I really think I'm not going to be able to participate until we figure out what's happening there.
Slimer, dude.
This is my Slimer shirt, man.
Ghostbusters.
Fabulous. That
is awesome.
I also have one that says Gatekeeper on it with a picture
nice.
of, yeah, dude. I was trying to find that, but then it was like 5 minutes to get on, and I knew Carrie was gonna get my ass if I didn't get on. So I was like, I want the Slimer shirt, but there's the picture of Sigourney Weaver, and she's like Gatekeeper.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now I can continue.
So Greg, how is it for you?
Sad is definitely though. I mean, I haven't been a part of the franchise for a super long time, but I always feel safe with Alex. Whenever I find out that Alex is directing a project I'm in, and I'm like, this is going to be awesome.
Hell yes. Yep.
And because you can tell that there's
emotional. You and Imari, it's just like,
dude, always send Alex some love, dude. Always.
No,
yeah,
it's
and
really nice
so,
to get to say.
but it was such a it was so cool to be brought in, and for it to just all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's it. Yeah, it's a little bit like what, for me, but who knows? Who knows? Anything's possible. Gabriel's a sneaky one.
He's a sneaky little bastard.
This is true. Yeah. Now, we mentioned a little bit, but Imari, how is it for you coming towards the end of this chunk of SAO?
I've been waiting for this moment since I first started doing Bercouli, because I knew with a guy like Bercouli, he's just only gonna die, because that's what they do with all the badass.
I was gonna say he's not dead yet. Hold on.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I mean, people have seen this show in subtitles already, and I already knew it's gonna come. And
I haven't yet.
Smell it. Oh, you haven't? Okay. Well,
I figured it.
I was saying, you smell what's on the horizon. Like, I've been watching anime since since I first saw Akira when I was like 10 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the whole thing it's always like, you kind of sense of what's going to happen. So when I first started doing Bercouli, like, I'm not going to say how it's going to end or how it's going to begin with him. But, number one, I just was like, mommy, and I have to give it up to mommy as well. Like, she just handed me Bercouli. She said, here, I want you to do Bercouli. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh, great. This guy, maybe I'll have one episode. And then I think Alex, he got frozen after he got frozen solid. And Alex was like, all right, man. Well, thanks. You did a good job. And after we flushed him out, I'm like, oh, great. They're just badass freaking like samurai. Like,
I didn't tell you were going to come back.
No, well,
I'm sorry.
Well, not at first, but then you're like, because you didn't really know. I think you were like, well, I think there might be something like in the future, but it was like, that wasn't for sure. And then like I just got attached to him.
No, I knew. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. Yeah,
I'm glad you didn't, because I was like, all this stuff is like a big surprise for me. And then
I'm sorry.
And then when Bercouli came on, I said, oh please. You don't have to be sorry about anything. Like when Bercouli started, like we formulated him and we discovered who he was. I just fell even deeper in love with him, because he's just such a badass, and he's who I would love to be in my real life. He's just calm, cool. He has answers to everything. And so like for this going forward, it's a culmination of everything that's been kind of building up, and you just feel that everyone who's been kind of like setting seeds for their characters is going to be coming to fruition right now. And people are starting to join together, and you just look at how Bercouli is with Alice, and right now it's like it's kind of do or die moment. So it's a little edge of your seat, particularly for him. Like I love that. I love this man so much. So he's and I had no idea how popular he was going to be amongst people who follow me on Twitter. Like
I was going to say, speaking of that, we got Mason running in the chat, said Imari is badass as Bercouli.
Thanks, Nathan.
Also mentions there's we got that person, and Chandler Ingram mentions there's a movie announced for next year, so we'll see. And real John Allen likes your kitchen, Alex.
See, can we mute John Allen? Is there any way we can boot him from chat?
John.
Just ban.
John plays. He's Greg's character's henchman, and so thanks, John, but no, it's not. It's horrible. It's horrible. I should have put my dishes away at least. Look at those buckets.
Nah, hell no. Listen, man. Listen. You live loud and you live proud, my friend. You don't. Listen, it is what it is. It's life. It's called life in the background. By the way, I like Alex.
Dude, that's a party kitchen. That's a party kitchen. Some of those red cups back there. He's styling, dude.
We also got Diana Perez, Gundam Force, Anime Savior from Toonami News. Hello. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining in, and again put out your questions. Also, side note, so the goal is to have these every week on Sundays, Mondays, kind of depends on the guests. So I was excited to get all of these folks here. So speaking of coming together and coming back, I thought it was pretty exciting that we had quite a few, not quite cameos, but it's that moment when a character reappears and you're just like, yay, they're back.
Yeah.
Because we had seen on from last season, well, not last chunk of episodes, and is a little more involvement now. We get Lifa and Klein at the end. So we'll go around again. Alex, how is it for you having like characters come back from seasons ago?
It's I mean, for me, it's we've always had like little bits and blobs of recording to do with Cassandra and Michelle and Kirk, but to see them to see them come into the underworld, it's always cool. I mean, when I watched the anime first via it's Crunchyroll on subtitles, those were always like, oh yeah, kick-ass moment. Of course, reading it in the book is different. It's a different kind of kick-ass moment with the music and the colors and everything. And just having Klein like standing there with his back to camera, and then he turns. It was like, I was like, oh, this is so cool. So it was always like, I can't wait till we record this moment. Like, I can't wait to record the moment when Leafa drops into the world and lands on her butt, or when Sinon comes in and just blows away the enemy and lands and says, "Hey, sorry I'm late." It's like stuff like that. I was looking forward to these moments, definitely. And the actors never disappointed. Everybody seemed to be like, "Oh, cool, I'm back, and I'm pretty rad."
Can we talk about Leafa's freaking almost getting freaking sucked to death? Like that was like that.
Well, she can't. She can't. She's got unlimited energy. She's got unlimited HP.
But see, I didn't know that because when Kari was like just a vicious, her character's so vicious in this episode, and I was like, ah, damn, she's so nasty, and she got pretty loud too. Like she was like I just like the way she was like doing. She did so good in that episode. And I was sitting there, my daughter was with me, and I was like, "Oh shit!
Oh no!"
Yeah. That last plunge of the tentacle where it went, I was like, "Oh, that's not good."
Well, I thought that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I was like,
in the book, it didn't do that, so I was like, and it was implied too, and I was like, "Why did they do that?" I was like, "That's a little."
It even took a little pause on the camera. The camera was like, "Nee." I was like, I was like, okay.
Well, also, did you notice how it's also blocked later by I'm gonna say his name wrong again. Lil
Pillin.
Lil Pillin.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I noticed like his shoulder kind of blocked in the shot. So no, Leafa's entrance was so fun. Of like, yeah, she arrives. It's kind of comedic. She has some moments with Lil Pillin of, you're human, and she's being so kind to him, and he's just not understanding. And then with D, it's just like, SAO, why do you gotta do this again and have another? And we were talking about that, like and then we'll go around and ask. So this show is not all ages for sure, but I feel it's not necessarily super duper adult. So it's interesting when there are these intense situations, and I feel it's almost out of place because it really felt like, did we really have to go there? And yes, it is implied, but it was just like, this is some of the biggest complaints I've heard from women watching the show, and I was sitting there like, oh, okay, like.
Well, so the tentacle never really goes where it's implied it goes.
Well,
I'm telling you, it does not, because I worked on this thing frame by frame, line by line, and it was like, yeah, no, there's nothing there. The tentacles go into her thighs and into her shoulders and arms and her, her legs and stuff, and then her stomach. But there's nothing sexually or any kind of like penetrating like that going on, which is why that shot was so bizarre to me, why they lingered on it and stuff. It implied that it's not really something that was even in the book as far as I could discern from the translation that I was reading of the book. But yeah, Sword Art's never been, it's not a show for kids. It's a show for like, well, I think Aniplex says it's more young adult oriented and stuff.
Teenager-ish.
I mean, I would say like, yeah. But again, I mean, we can't police who watches this on Toonami or Crunchyroll or anything like that. So it's up to people, whatever their viewing habits are and everything. But I mean, the show, ultimately the show, and I've said this before, I don't know where, maybe with you, Carrie, did it again. I did it again.
My goodness.
If people don't know, there's a Kari actress on the show as a voice actor, and then there's me, Carrie.
So I think we talked about this before, Carrie. That Sword Art's a soap opera. And it has some adult themes and adult things going on. I mean, the characters, a lot of the characters' emotional conflicts. There's stuff that's not really childish about a lot of their conflicts. It's stuff that might be a little bit more mature, or that if you're a little bit more mature emotionally, you might understand it and it might affect you more. But yeah, again, it's kind of like the show has moments like this, and I'm sorry if you're not used to it by now, and when it got there, it affected you.
But I mean, we've seen moments like where it's like, I mean, it's like it can be because there's so many comedics, there's so many different paces in the show, right?
Yeah.
There's comedy, there's romance, there's like, I hear myself.
Ooh, I'm hearing an echo on somebody's.
Oh no, that was my bad. I'm trying to fix my.
Oh, I was like,
oh my.
Heard myself. No, but
speaking of comedic moments,
the different paces of the show, and then all of a sudden something will snap your butt back into reality. You know, like I mean, it could be, I mean, just even the way that Kari's character, gets handled at the end, you're just like, oh shit, it's just, and it's always like. Like, like the splattering of like flesh, like from the weapon, and then it's like a blink, like a flash of a hat, and all of a sudden, like we're in a gory town, and that's what I've been, used to the show. It's like you think it does have a kiddie arc because you have all these cute characters that have such, there's wholesome characters, wholesome vibes, and then all of a sudden it gets flipped around, which is the whole.
The tone shifts.
Yeah, the tone shifts like that. Like, and there's no time for you to like, that's why Gabriel's character, like, he's so good with like that underling of anything can happen with me right now. Like, you don't know what's going to be affected, and that's credit to your voice acting, my friend. Like, just
I was gonna say, Greg over here. Yeah, I was gonna talk about what's it like for you. You get to do this character that's just so gruesome in a way, and then you get a couple people who work for you that are just nearly as bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so funny because, like,
I think your plug-in thing made it scratchy, and I still hear stuff.
Yeah, you're really fuzzing out, Greg.
You were good before. I know you changed.
Yeah.
You put the headphones in here.
Yeah, where's our engineer?
Well, the problem is that before. My audio I was getting like every third syllable from everybody.
So
let me see what I can do here. Yeah, so
I hate technology. Technology is so good. Technology can be really good. Technology can just be the biggest pain in the ass. I think we had that problem before we did the session, our last session, right, Alex? Like, didn't we have?
The session actually for this episode with you. I remember that the video was lagging really bad for both you and me. And then whenever you would try to record something, we would get all these like digital hits and stuff.
Oh yeah. It was like
yeah, and it was really weird. But then the next session with you was fine.
Yeah, it's just because that's the freaking evilness of technology that we're using right now. It's evil. Like, like internet breaks down. You're fucking like, you got to restart your freaking audio program to use. Got to restart that.
Yeah.
Source Connect, the Source Connect just wants it, does not work for you. It's a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah.
Greg, we got someone from a previous, some of your other streams, Fixin' Pawns.
Oh my gosh.
It works.
Fixin' Pawns says, even on other streams, Greg, technical difficulties continue. It's okay.
Oh, no, they called you out, Greg.
Oh my gosh. Wait, who is this? I am gonna give them some. Okay, I don't know who that is, but my other streams in a few hours here, so I'm gonna give them hell. I'm gonna call out whoever it is. Is it sounding okay now?
There's like a
crackle.
Yeah.
A little bit of a crackle.
Little snap, crackle, pop.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Greg. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you.
Oh, I bet it's a sample rate issue.
See,
we got the Champ Production says, I'm still getting goosebumps in this final half of the season. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, good. I mean, the last few episodes are pretty gnarly. Yeah.
Well, back to the other moment, I did want to mention, I am glad it's only as short as it is, because I want to say it was from, I don't remember what season, but much earlier on with Asana, and I felt there was, that was drawn out for so long. And it's like, can we get that over with? But this was like, okay, it's uncomfortable, but at least it was like, here's that moment, and she vanquishes the foe, and then it's like, okay, cool, moving on. So I'm glad it wasn't like the entire episode. Like, it could have gone on for longer, and then it really would have been like, okay, SA, I'm looking at you. We need to not do this again. But yeah, I'm glad we had those like intense moments, because as we were talking about it before, and then Imari, you were saying, you know, your daughter's watching of it. It makes the evilness of DIL so much more to do this stuff and make us uncomfortable watching these bad things happen to Leafa. But then it also kind of makes it so much better that Leafa's able to be like, and done, destroyed. And you're like, yes!
Well, that was a whole mind fuckery of it. I didn't really know Leafa that well. Like, I didn't know what she could do, right? So then I was like, okay, so she has some regenerative stuff, I see, because all of a sudden flowers started growing. So I was like, okay, she's gonna unlock something going on there, right? And then but then when those tentacles went into her, like, you know, there's a gush of blood coming out of every tentacle, and I was like, oh crap, well, how is she gonna, like, you know, that didn't look
what
good.
show are you watching?
No, right when the tentacles go in the shoulder, it goes like there's
yeah,
like
there's all this blood. Also, when D starts doing stuff, it's like bleeding out her face.
Yeah, when she regenerates, all the cuts and wounds of her like spurt out and stuff. Yeah,
but
I wasn't like
also,
where the tentacles went in, there was because I was like, oh,
there's a squishy sound.
There's a squishy sound that happens, so I was like, okay, that's kind of foul. And then that's never a good sign when that happens, especially when you freaking like get wrapped up like that. I was like, this character just got
they got little teeth on them, man. They gotta make a sound.
I know, it's good. I'm not complaining by any means. Like it added to the whole intensity of it for me. I was like, oh, this girl's about to die, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, you kind of, you know, that gets turned on its head, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, but you never know with a show. People are mercilessly taken out, and then you're done. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I liked her when she came on, and she's like, oh, she's sweet, nice. This guy's feeling like a human, because you know, I feel like an orc, and he's like, you know, learning kindness through her, and all of a sudden, like, she's about to get eviscerated by, like, you know, cosmic leeches. And so, like, I was just like, you know, I'm just like any other viewer. I'm like, oh shit, oh, okay. And then, like, you know, at the end, I thought that was fantastic. So.
Chandler in the chat points out, as you were kind of saying, that oh yeah, there we go. So the scene helps give Lil Pink character development, which I agree. That was kind of nice to see him have. It's like such a short moment with him, but like to see him maybe go like, hey, wait, this is not how it should be, and there are other options out there. So you're like, yes.
That orc
he's getting free will.
Yeah,
he's getting his free will.
Like he in that one moment too, being treated with respect, gives him the free will, which I thought was pretty awesome. Like he gets shown like some kindness.
Yeah.
And isn't that like with everyone else in the real world kind of thing? You know what I'm saying? Like a little kindness, show people a little bit of like generosity and what it's like, instead of being, you know, treated unfairly, and people will blossom. So I thought that was a pretty cool that one.
Greg, are you ready to join back in?
I don't know. Is my mic fixed? Does it sound okay?
Yay!
It sounds awesome.
Good.
Sounds good.
Right.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the question before was
yes.
like, yes, I'm back now. I don't know what I'm going to throw away this audio interface. It's the worst thing ever. Now I'm just going through my microphone, and it's fine, input and output. So
yeah,
perfect.
Sounds good.
Blue Yeti blackout. Anyway, I mean, obviously, I'm super psyched to be part of this property. The thing about playing villains that I've realized, because I've been playing a lot of villains lately, and it's like it's fun and it's cool being just sort of a cold-blooded asshole to everybody and stuff. But you know, later I realized this is like me just working with Alex in the booth and stuff. But then later I realized, like, people are watching this and they probably all just hate me. You know what I mean? Like, you're playing.
Actors are not their characters.
Yes,
I know. Yeah, hopefully
you guys spend so much time on Twitter reminding people actors are not their characters.
I know, and thankfully I haven't gotten any death threats. I mean, there's lots of people who, if they're playing a character that people don't like in a show, I mean, they will get like serious threats from people, like real life threats, and I'm like, that's just crazy. So, I mean, I haven't worried too much about that because I haven't gotten any yet, but you know, playing villains is definitely a love-hate thing for me, because I love bringing that part to the story because it's necessary, and I feel like people need to experience the satisfaction of hating someone so much and then watching them get their comeuppance. So I'm happy to provide that. It is fun to play those roles, but ultimately I'm just like, you know, I'd like to be a good guy once. You know what I mean?
But Dragon's Dogma, you were such a good guy.
This is true.
Such a good guy in Dragon's Dogma.
And
then a couple of the other things we worked on that we can't talk about.
Just
I would. Oh, you got the NDAs that's slapping you around right now.
We got
this
Yeah,
one
Alan,
this is an NDA for like 3 years ago that no one's ever going to see. But whatever.
Yeah, Alan Gamino in the chat says
know.
y'all are the goats. So nice.
Oh,
Yay.
Thanks, Alan.
And Greg, John Allen says he hacked your audio interface after you said you'd have to mute it.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
so is there a ban feature on StreamYard? I think it'd be best for everyone if John Allen was not. Well, then he's just.
Well, John Allen should be a guest.
Well, he's just, even if we ban him, he's just going to come back under another username.
Well, Carrie, you're going to ask.
Oh, you let me
John
know
to be a
when,
guest
so I
in
can
a future
troll the
episode,
hell out
right?
of him.
Rivalry,
Alex,
karma,
what was
buddy.
that?
I like it.
You're gonna ask John to be on your show at some point, right? Because
Well,
he's
I
got a
don't know.
lot
Does
of
he
really
wanna
good
be there?
critter moments.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah,
John,
definitely reach out to
Twitter.
him.
Do vice versa
John,
too. Come find me.
Plus, he's just got a lot of good life wisdom. Yeah.
All right. I was gonna say, speaking of wisdom, we get Bercouli going after Gabriel and the dragons and everything. I love the magnifying glass, like not telescope. What's it called? Like
The eye.
no, but it's not a telescope. But what's the small one? I was like, those like a pirate.
Binoculars?
No, I know what you're talking about. A manacle.
Spyglass? Monocle?
Monocle.
You know what I'm talking about? Like the pirate has
a spyglass.
No,
Spyglass.
monocle's like the okay. Sure.
Yeah, it's spyglass.
So it was kind of that.
Yeah, the monocle's a dude with the
underwater.
top hat who wears it on his eye. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. Do not pass go. Do not.
Nicki
collect
Minaj
it.
refers to him in
No,
her
wait,
hit
that's
Super Bass.
I was just
True.
saying that's like the Mandela effect. Does he really have a monocle? You think he does, but does he? It's Mr. Peanut who has a monocle.
A
But
spiritual
anyways,
Mr.
Oh, you're
Peanut.
right.
yeah, he doesn't.
You're right. He doesn't.
Monopoly, he doesn't, but we all think he does.
Oh.
You don't know what the Mandela effect is? Look it up. It will blow your mind. It's super.
Don't look it up. You'll turn it. It's
be like,
a cult. It's a cult.
It'll ruin your childhood. You're like, I thought I knew the truth. I never knew the truth.
It's too nutty for words, and you end up on a QAnon board. Seriously, it's not.
I just want to list it. Anyway, so we got Bercouli going after Gabriel, and you get this awesome start to an epic fight. And I know the dub, this is just a dub episode we're talking about. So if anybody who's watched the subtitled version, please do not get ahead in the comments of what happens next. But we get the start of the fight, which was fun and epic. So Imari, how was it getting to kick off the season with a fight episode and going after the big bad himself, Gabriel?
Oh man, I was waiting for it because I wanted, no offense. I wanted some fucking revenge. I wanted to play the hell out of Gabriel. I've been wanting it for a while, and I've been wanting this fight for a while. And then I knew it was going to be brutal, and I knew it was going to be fantastic. And I knew I was going to be doing a bunch of vocal work. Alex and I had to. There were so little nuances because in the sword fight when we start going at it, right, and before he slices my arm off. We had to kind of choreograph that because you want to do efforts every kind of cling. You're like, oh, I think the first time I started doing that, I was like, oh, and then Alex was like, hey man, we can only do like 3 efforts for that. So many like swords going around that like the whole scene would be like, oh, like if we all the blades that were like, So and then there's one part that we worked on too when he gets off the dragon, and then he kind of does
the running on air was so cool.
So you don't understand that Alex and I went through that a few times because we wanted to get we didn't want to do too much lift off from when I start running, but there was a little bit of an effort when I get off, and there's a little like when I hit the sky, there's a little like there's like a little something. We did that what 7 times? We did that one.
Well, keep in mind that our video was lagging horribly that day, and for some reason our Source Connect was glitching out on everything. So it was kind of like, Imari and all the actors, Imari, Greg, all the actors, they run a backup recording track.
Yeah.
But there are times when I can't trust the backup track that they're recording, because I'm not even hearing what we need to get, because it's all glitched out. Yeah. And so, like Imari says, I don't remember exactly how many takes, but if you say it was 7, I'm sorry, but it's probably 7.
See, Alex is a lot like me too, because I will not, if I do not have a certain tone that I want that's going to progress. I do this with auditions. I do this with shows. Like I just did this. I did like I think it was a 4-hour recording session in this booth, and it's from a team in Germany. I can't talk about the game, but they were like, "Are you down to do you want to take a break?" No. I said, "No, I'm in it. Like we're running good. We're hot. We got the character figured out. Let's just keep going." And that's the whole thing. You want to make sure you have exactly how you have it in your brain. You want it on paper. You know what I'm saying? And that scene was so delicate and such an intricate scene, because we had so many different movements. We had we charted how many freaking combinations, man. It was a pretty intense recording session. Afterwards, I laid on my bed, which is right outside this booth. I just kind of I was like, oh shit. I was just like,
it was pretty active. It was pretty active.
It was an active session. It was really good.
But whenever I'm working with an actor, if we get through rolling on a take, and I know Greg does this and Imari does this too, everybody does this pretty much. The actor's not happy with what they just gave you. Usually you guys are always like, you know what, let me go again. And it's like, okay, rolling, here we go.
I mean,
don't even talk about it. It's just like, let Imari, let Greg work it out. They probably heard something in the playback that wasn't exactly what they were trying to do. And you know what, we're all kind of on the same page anyway. So it's like, go for it and just
generally with me, you have to deal with a long set of curse words before we actually getting to do another take. With Alex and I, we have this infamous dynamic where I will throw out a string of curse words, and Alex is always like, "Don't be so hard on yourself." And I'm like, "Alex, it's just the way I work. Don't worry about it. I'm not like."
It's funny when Greg does it. It's funny when Greg does it because he's so sweet, and I mean, you're sweet too, Imari, but you're not like Greg, because Greg just explodes. If he messes up, if he stumbles over a word and catches himself, it's like it is a tapestry of obscenities that just
oh my god,
descends upon, and it's like, oh,
is this going to be on a blooper reel that we get to see? I would love to see behind the scenes of that, Craig.
It's never.
Oh
my god, never.
It's like a mini explosion, and I don't think Greg would want people to hear it. It's not. I mean, he doesn't go on for like a minute and a half, right, Greg? You just blow up and then you go.
No, I don't go on for a long time. But what it is I mean, you don't see it so much in my villain work, but for Dragon's Dogma, it could be the most tender moment with Christina V or whatever, and I mess up a small word, and I'm instantly furious. I'm instantly. These cuss words come from a very dark place, and so it's just an interesting.
I mean, we all have our things of
and that's why Alex reacts most of the time with "Are you okay?" So
because it's so shocking.
We all have that. For me, I equate it to being on a surfboard, and you're trying to freaking stay on the surfboard, and then when you're and you have it, especially when you when it's sounding good, you're starting off real good, and then all of a sudden the one little hitch does it, and it ends that whole entire. God damn it! It was right there. Sometimes Alex would say we'll tell you, I'll throw in some words in the script, those some stuff. He goes, yeah, but that's not what was in the script. Once a few times, I'll just say some words in there, but it'll be nice. But that's not what they say in the script, and you're gotta do it the right way. I'm like, shit. And then that's when I'm like, God damn it, man. But
working with creative people, this is what you get, Carrie.
Well, I was just thinking, anybody seen the scene in The Wire where they do an entire scene just using the F word?
No.
Yes.
It's the best scene.
Oh, it's awesome. 2
characters, and they're just like, fuck. And they're both just talking about a crime, and the 2 characters, the only word each of them says is fuck, pretty much. And you're just
and there's 37 fucks or something like that.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Wow.
I need to watch
It's great. The Wire is an excellent show. Go watch that.
Oh, I gotta check it out.
So, Greg, how was it for you with this initial fight scene kicking things off? Your character does stay relatively calm and collected as usual, but how was it?
Well, he always is. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is that I always approach all of his battles, you know, obviously Alex cueing me off as to where my mindset is. Normally, I'm not really worried about much, you know? And so whenever I play a character like this, where every battle is sort of like, oh, this is amusing, like, I'm not really all that stressed. Like, all it does, I think, is just kind of build up this energy where I know I need to let it all out in whatever final battle there's going to be. Because certainly you can't let a villain go on without them getting their ass kicked at some point. So I think all of these, I do stay relatively calm. Like, it's a very chill experience for me doing these initial fights. It's not that much effort. Everything is just sort of like easy breezy. But I know something's coming. So I just kind of, you know, I save all of that stuff. I save it all for later, because you want to provide that contrast. You want to provide that sort of really irritating, smug, self-assured, kind of casual demeanor, while somebody else is obviously very upset because you're screwing with their life. And then as a villain, playing a villain as an actor, you want to give the audience that payoff where you are, you know, agonizing, and in the end you're really feeling the pain because they want you to feel that pain. It's sort of like a current event scenario that I won't elaborate on, but when somebody that you end up hating them for so long, you want to see them suffer, honestly, and you want to see their BS that they've been trying to lord over everybody for years and years. You want it to blow up in their face, and that's the satisfaction that a viewer gets. So as a villain, that's
vampire leeches. You want the vampire leeches to come out.
All over.
You should do sound design. You should do Foley with your vocals, Alex. That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my big break, unfortunately. My reel's out there, but yeah, no.
It's one of the other mini talents that you have to offer. There you go. By the way, guess what else I can do? Yeah.
But I will say, I mean, you know, honestly, with the whole villain thing, like, I feel like that's something that when you are playing a villain, like an important villain, a big bad of any kind, certain characters are different and they have more dimensions. If you're playing a character that for the most part is meant to be hated and to be disposed of and have the audience rejoice in that disposal, I think as an actor, you have to throw any notion of being likable to the side, and you have to play that role as despicably and as despisably. That's not, neither of those are words, I don't think, but you know what I'm saying? You need to do what you can to make the audience hate you as much as possible. And then when you get what's coming to you, you have to be the most sniveling, just sort of pathetic. You have to give the audience what they want, because that's what I want when I watch a show and I hate a villain, you know? So that's an interesting process.
I mean, I want to play a villain. See, we're kind of, Greg and I are the opposites, because I'm like, I want to play a villain because it's cool to be cold, and it's cool to be a dick sometimes, because that's not, you know, that's not who I am. It's not what I spend so much time worrying about other people, and like, you know, like it'd be cool just to like to know like I'm a dick, but I'm not really a dick in real life. You know what I'm saying? I could just be a dick right here. You know,
what's that way to vent it and channel it and not do it in real life?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that didn't stop me from doing it in real life. You should see when I go to the mall. It's, you know.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of difficulties in watching that, so then we get the exciting moments in this fight scene where Bercouli has these awesome moves, stopping time, and it's not working so well. And then Gabriel is able to essentially throw it back at him. So for Imari, how was that for you, of like your character finally is fighting someone that's like, oh shit, my biggest specialty thing does nothing in this moment, and essentially is turned back on you.
It's fucking frustrating as fuck, because I'm like, dude, Bercouli's a badass, dude. Bercouli's like a freaking because Bercouli and Gabriel have very similar personalities, right? Where Bercouli has the answers. Bercouli's like he's one of the longest living knights, and like, you know what I'm saying, he's seen all kinds of battles. He's been like, you know, he's a mentor. He's Alice's daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like he should be fucking like he should be handling it a little bit better than he did at the get go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, hot damn, dude. Like,
when a bad guy like clouds your mind with like, you know, cloudy smoke powers. It's like there's nothing you can do. It's like
before that was the aperitif. The beginning, the hors d'oeuvres was when he consumes my time sword like essence right in front of my face. Like I give him like this powerful blast.
You can't help it. You can't help it.
He slurps
well, also
it down.
shout out to Bercouli for apologizing to the dragon for killing the dragon. Like,
man,
I'm sorry.
Like, Bercouli is a freaking conservationist, dude. He freaking loves his animals, and he loves. He's like, I'm sorry, dragon, I'm about to slice your freaking wing off. But you know, what I'm saying, it's either my baby girl or your dragon. You're about to lose a wing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, that's what I do in real life to myself. That was my baby girl being held by a dragon.
I gotta watch more Imari interviews. I mean, the fact that the phrase "it's fucking frustrating as fuck" has got to be galvanized somewhere. Because he jumps off, he has this whole like, I'm like, oh, here we go, baby. Like, let's go. And as I'm looking at with the footage, I'm like, okay, we got to do this here. We do the lift off, we land, and I'm ready to tear this mass up. And then like I look down the script, I'm like, oh, wait a second. This doesn't sound like, you know, it's gonna be some ass kickery or out the bat. It's gonna be one of those those scenes where, you know, the bad guy's gonna get his ass kicked for a little bit, and then maybe he might squeak one in, maybe he won't. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. But I do love the whole dude. Gabriel's freaking like, I mean, he's Vector, you know what I'm saying? Like and Kirito freaking handled my ass like when we first met, you know what I'm saying? like right off the bat. So it's possible, you know what I'm saying? But you know, you form an attachment to Bercouli. Like I love the man. So you want him to freaking kick ass because you know he can.
Yeah.
So and I'm not gonna say how the rest of the fight goes. Like tune in, and those who
I was gonna say no spoilers.
Yeah. But I will say that I like how the tone sets up. I like the whole desperation aspect of it right off the bat because you're like, oh crap, you know what I'm saying? He goes in there, you know, freaking Vector says that it tastes like a fine vintage wine finish that lingers on the tongue too long, and I'm like choke on it, and I'm like choke on it. By the way, the choke on it one was another one that Alex and I went over a little bit. Like he's like we gotta do just the right amount of anger, not too much, like but not too like. I was like. I think the first one was I was like, choke on it! And I was like, at that point, I was all freaking like pissed. I was like, you choke on it, motherfucker. I was like, no, Imari, no. Like, this is like, this, like,
well, I mean, ultimately, it was only a couple of takes because once we figured out, hey, we just needed to add a little bit more of that lunging physicality to it. I mean, I don't think we did that more than like 3 times, to be honest.
No,
yeah.
Then Alex,
the first take is always you go balls out.
Yeah,
right? You know, which is fine. Go for it as long as you don't hurt yourself. But I mean, yeah, no. So
Alex, the stakes have been set so high at this fight because it is like Bercouli. We know him to be so good and so skilled, and Vector's handing his ass to him. It's just like, oh shit. So how is that for you, Alex, when we get to that scene, getting to watch it, and then what kind of tone do you feel that sets for this chunk of episodes?
Oh, for the next episodes coming up?
Yeah. I don't really want to say season. It just feels like they're chunks of episodes of like how they're like explaining seasons in the show is just whack. So it's just like this set of episodes.
I mean, how it sets it up. Well, now you know that Gabriel / Emperor Vecta is going to give Bercouli a run for his money. That Bercouli has a weakness that he can't do anything about. It's that whole mind fogging thing, that power that Vecta unleashes on him. Bercouli now is missing an arm. He's in the middle of a fight. He's in the middle of a fight, so it's not like he can. Yeah, but you're the villain, Greg. We expect that.
That laugh was evil too. A nice, good evil laugh too.
So I mean, you know that it's been said anyway that Bercouli's so skilled after hundreds of years of being an integrity knight. We now know his power about shuttling time forward and backward, or shuttling his being able to place a sword hit forward in time or backwards in time. And I think now that Bercouli is wounded, the stakes are set for, oh my God, what's going to happen when we cut back to this thing? Because now it's like, oh, well, Gabriel's unkillable, it seems, and unhurtable. And here's Bercouli, who's now facing the first time that he's ever been really wounded on screen, as far as we're concerned.
Right.
So, you know, hopefully that when the fight resumes in the next episodes, it'll have a payoff that makes everybody cheer. It's, you know, again, watching the anime after reading the books is a different experience, because now there's music added, there's, you know, shots that are composed a certain way and stuff. So things that in the book didn't really, you know, affect me so much, now affect me a little bit more, because now I can see it and hear it, see it realized visually. So this Bercouli fight actually had a lot more, it was a lot more nail biting for me when I was watching it.
Yeah.
During when it was streaming, than it did in the book. In the book, I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Turn the page, turn the page. It was great. But with, you know, streaming, it's like, oh no, this is not happening. It's just everything's a little bloodier and a little bit more crazier, and the stakes feel even more elevated, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
No, totally.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, hopefully it sets up a huge payoff for the audience in the next couple of episodes.
Any kind of joy in life, you have to have a little bit of effort and a little bit of, like, you know, a little bit of investment in order for you to get that ultimate payoff. You know, you can't get it. What makes it show is that you don't get the payoff right away, and you're not supposed to get the payoff right away. So I think that's like one of the. For some shows like this, is a frustrating aspect, but it's also an awesome, fantastic aspect of it, because you're just like, you know, you're still there. If you care, it's doing the job, right?
Yeah. Every episode ends on a cliffhanger, so it's doing its job as a show.
It does. And then Greg, any thoughts to add on that regarding that fight?
I mean,
or anything else for the episode?
It was super fun to do. I mean, that's the thing, is that these fights, there's a line that I had to walk too with Alex, as far as how I respond, because Imari was talking earlier about how it's sort of like, how much venom do you let out? How much are you holding back? Like, where is that? And that's actually where we really have to trust our director, because he's the one that has both of those performances in mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's a really cool process, piecing that together and then seeing it come together and go, oh, that's what Alex was thinking. That's why that works. That's why he told me not to, you know, go too far here or to step up here, even though that may not be your first instinct when you're recording in a bubble. To watch it all come together is super cool. And like, I always enjoy these fight scenes where it's kind of like there's the dialogue in between, and then there's some fighting, and then there's, you know, because it's really crafting this kind of dance that's really ultimately is just very rewarding to watch. And I like being a part of that process, even if I am the total asshole in it, you know.
Totally. Yeah, but I liked how you were when your character is kind of figuring out this power that you have, you're kind of like, oh, well, let's see what this does. You know, let's see, you know, it's kind of like, I like how you played that. You kind of played it really down and stuff. You just kind of played it more analytical and not malicious.
It's like he's in a video game and he goes, oh, this combo move is cool. Like, okay. And that's also why he doesn't seem to care about Bercouli, because it's like, it's an NPC character.
He's not going to die. Yeah, he's not gonna. Yeah, Gabriel's not gonna die.
He's like,
plus, when I play Gabriel, when I go in for sessions, I take a lot of sedatives beforehand, so that usually helps too. You know, I get a lot of Greg. You still there? You know, put it.
You're just like zenning out in a different way. Yes,
Alex, don't talk, Alex.
You're like, well, a different, not lower emotions, but higher emotions. We get the reunion of Sinon getting to go see Kirito, and it was so cute. She asked Asana, like, can I go talk to him? And I mean, it makes sense, but it was still kind of cute of like, you don't need permission. Like, yeah, he's right there. And I was thinking of like, does she know what state he's in? Because she didn't seem so surprised, but I guess everybody on the outside knows, like, oh, by the way, he's not
the friends all know
him right now.
Yeah. That's in previous episodes of the previous chunk of the War of Underworld.
I still think I'd be surprised to see my friend that way, even if I know.
Sure. Like when she walks in, she is surprised. There's a moment when she kind of goes like that.
Yeah, she cries like, you know, Like she straight up says, like, "Oh crap," you know, like. I like that part. The whole scene was really cool. They all start bawling. I love the fact that they're like, oh great, another female friend.
Yes. Denise tweeted about that with Kimberly, and I thought that was such a funny moment. Very meta of the show. They're like, oh, he has a lot of female friends on the outside too.
Kirito's like me, dude. That's how I was in high school, man. Like all my homeboys were like, dude, you guys aren't doing. I'm like, nah, that's my home. She's like my sis. And they're like, what? What do you mean like your sis? Like you guys are like hanging out. Like I have a ton of female friends. So like I get Kirito. Like you just like, you know, I've never had a problem with just having like equal amounts of female and male friends. it's never really crossed my mind. So Kirito reminds me a little bit about myself though too, unless he's doing something more sneaky on the low that I never really did with my female friends. You know what I'm saying?
He's not. He's not. Trust me. He's 100%. He's 100% platonic. Asana's his girl forever.
Yeah.
Wait. Well, what about except for Alice? You know, that's his in-world girlfriend.
So
sort of.
I mean, so yeah. Kirito's heart is always for Asana, and vice versa. It's not his fault that other girls crush on him, like Sinon and Alice too. We'll find out eventually. And Ronier and Tisei and pretty much everybody else. Lena.
The list goes on. Yeah.
Yeah, the list goes on.
That's what I tell my wife. It's not my fault. All these girls.
It's not your fault, Greg.
Yeah, I can't help it.
No, but I mean, it's true. It's a sort of a fun sort of moment of the show knows its quirks.
Yeah.
Right.
And whenever it plays to those strengths, it's kind of like, or points them out like with a wink to the audience, like how Ronier and Tisei did in the wagon and stuff.
They're just like,
it's always kind of fun.
Come on, it's all about the slumber party episode.
Yeah, totally. It's like
I know everyone. Like I'm a little bit on Team Alice for her and Kirito to do a little matchmaking. I was because
Alice.
Yeah, but for some reason I want that to go into fruition. I never really watched the show past like this arc, so like I need to go back in time and watch everything, like everything about the show. But
and then go pick up the books. The books after Alicization continue the story where the Underworld has evolved and stuff. I won't spoil it for people who haven't watched it.
That's fantastic.
But you know, Alice is a part of the story, and so who knows what'll happen? I haven't read that far yet. So
and I know that definitely gets the debate going because when I've had that discussion before of like Asana versus Alice, and I'm like, okay, Asana is definitely best girl in this situation, but it is an interesting alternate like world of him with Alice. So it's just kind of like if things were different.
I mean, big baby girl's like freaking wiping his mouth, feeding him. Go maybe make
right.
She spent 6 months taking care of him. She's invested.
Probably freaking like taking him out to the bathroom and shit.
She is invested.
Like, that shit
There's
you do,
no doubt.
That's like a long-term wife. Like that's wifey goals. You know what I'm saying? Like that's investment. So
they animated those scenes. They had to cut it. There wasn't enough.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you're gonna put that much time emotionally, that takes effort. You know, even if it's a cartoon, that's still like, wow. That's
well,
dedication.
Speaking of effort and our best girl, we got Asana trying to fight off these hordes of American players, which I still find very amusing. Of it's the Americans coming in.
Yeah.
And she's doing a great job, and it is one of those, but she's getting tired, and I'm just like, can we get her some health points or something? She's just like bleeding and tired. It's like, can we help her out? And then yes, Klein shows up, and that was such a cool great way to end that moment.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the episode, Alex?
It was our first episode recording remotely. I had the only other thing that I had recorded remotely that was anime, you know, that we needed to sync to picture like this was it was some pickups for Dragon's Dogma.
That's right.
Yeah, that was the only other thing those last 2 episodes. So it was weird for me to try to figure out the workflow on my end. So it was actually kind of a learning experience too, because a couple of the actors the way their home setup was and stuff, and the way the sound was coming through to me from the engineer's computer at Bang Zoom.
Right.
When an actor was in record, their sound was very sort of subdued. The volume was down. And when the engineer popped it into place to play it back, then the volume was at like normal volume compared to what, you know, the music and effects track was and everything. So there were a lot of times, particularly when Cassandra was doing her scene, when she was doing the gasping and suffering, there were times when, you know, I just couldn't hear what she was doing. And there were moments when the video was lagging a lot. And so we did like these sort of runs of gasping and stuff 2-3 times until Cassandra was like, okay, enough. I can't do this anymore because I didn't know we were doing this today. Nobody told me, number one. And I have this other session right after this. And I was like, oh my God. Oops. I was so shocked my headphone came out. So after that session with Cassandra, I was a lot more careful with everybody to make sure that we didn't do that a lot of times. Or as much as I could, I was as careful as I could be. Right. Let's put it that way. So it was a learning experience. Definitely after this episode, my workflow and how I, you know, listen to things and handle things on my end changed. So I became a little faster, a little bit more efficient. But again, all that hinged on whether or not our video was lagging or Source Connect wasn't fucking up, or, you know, or somebody's computer didn't have enough memory and couldn't process the audio and video coming in and then going out and stuff like that. So it was just, you know, it was a learning experience, and I learned a lot from recording episode 13 for sure. Yeah. Recording remotely. So, yeah.
And Greg, final thoughts on this episode and the experience of recording from home for this episode?
I mean, for sure. Like, the one thing that I learned is that this was the first kind of like really heavy combat scene that I've done since I've been stuck at home like this. And I'm realizing that the room in my booth is just too damn small. And I've actually been sitting down forever to record. You think the voice actors look silly doing a fight scene standing up? Imagine them doing it sitting down. It's just, it's ridiculous, you know? And so I'm actually going to be revamping my booth and raising up the whole desk with one of those, it's like a standing addition, sort of like an add-on to the desk. Bring everything up, get rid of the chair in the booth, get rid of the boom stand in the booth, have everything mounted off that thing, both my microphones, and just have a lot more room to get physical and stuff like that. And so that's kind of what this episode taught me as far as like workflow goes. And as far as my character goes, I mean, you know, you'll see.
and Imari.
Yeah.
What about you?
It was I mean, like I it definitely, like, working from home was different. I got used to going in the bank to BZ and having you know, we use pretty much the same booth and to move around and stuff and to be able to do that. So here it was a little different because, you know, you just have to kind of get in that mind state. You're here, you're in your own environment, and so it's just a different environment to get into that headspace too. So I mean, but like, you know, with everything, you work it gets figured out. I loved that the first episode back was kind of an emotionally invested one where, you know, you kind of start where you left off, because the last time we recorded it was at BZ, and I hopped on the Dragons and I was going after Alice, and that was like the last episode that we did. And so it kind of picks up right when it left off, and I just had to kind of get myself back in that headspace again, and then also like do all the nuances and things like that, you know, that kind of like add layers to the scene. So it was number one, it's kind of christening this new booth that I got because of the pandemic. We wound up moving, and I had my old closet was a walk-in closet which I padded from top to bottom, and my technician and my friend Brady, who kind of set it all up for me and stuff. So in this one I was like, oh, this is like a new space, it's a new this, and, you know, all this stuff going on, and so it was just it was like a first time doing that kind of scene at home, first time being away from BZ doing something like that at home, First time working with Alex, you know, like that, because normally we see each other face to face. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll give him a little nod when he takes a little break in the front
parking lot.
And then like I say what's up, I get some green tea, we meet up. All right, cool, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? He's had a session of seeing other actors and stuff. So it was just different just to jump back into it. But I mean, I think we're, you know, at this time I think we're a really good team, and we're able to work it out. So I think the proof
everybody was clicking, considering all the issues. You know, everybody's recording from home and stuff. It was everybody still came to party. You know,
definitely.
And if anything, maybe everybody was like, everybody showed up to party like really hard.
Yeah,
because they knew about all the technological, like, you know, issues and stuff already. Because God knows how many times you guys have recorded remotely before, you know, you got to record working on Sword Art again with me. So you knew way more about the process than I did.
It was,
so it's, you know, I'm very thankful that you, Imari, you, Greg, everybody else, Bryce, Jeremy, Cassandra, Deneen, Kimberly, everybody, Xander. I'm grateful that you are in the cast and that you guys didn't give up, and that you all worked so hard to try to make it special and make it good and make it right. You know, you didn't give up. Nobody gave up.
hell no, man. This is our baby,
Never.
man. We gotta make sure we put this baby to bed nice, like it's all clean and well fed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like this is like, you know, this is you know, it's a team effort. Honestly, I mean, I hear it every episode we have. You can hear that people are invested in it. You can hear it. The proof is in the performance, and you know, there's so many different things that like add to the perfection of SAO. So you know, it's I mean, it's like I said, it's a gift unto me. I was like, you know, I got the role and I was like, okay, cool, let's play. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, this is we're this is kind of deep. We're getting deep in it. All right, cool. Next season, all right, cool. You know, like, so I feel very blessed to be on the show and to work with Alex. I really, you know, I directors have a really hard job, especially with anime, and to translate it and to kind of serve both parties, because there's a lot of our fans watch the sub, and then they kind of like they're for the most part really good at like going, oh my god, I can't wait to, like, you know, see everything happen, but they don't really give stuff away. So we have to please those who watch the dub and those who watch the sub, because you know it's a hard balance, man, to translate the series and do it justice. So I just think Alex does such a good job, and I just love working with Alex. I just, you know, we talk about music, and we talk about, like, you know, our past and stuff, and it's just really fun.
How do we have to please those who watch the sub?
You know, we have to we have to not take too many liberties with the script.
Yeah,
exactly. The script.
That's nearly impossible to do that. If you don't like dub, it's not for you. Go watch sub. If you don't like sub, go watch dub. Guess what? Both are available to you.
I mean, that's what we've been saying for years. Right? It's like, what do you want?
I'm both equally a sub and dub. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll
watch them both. Yeah, watch them both.
I think there's equally, like, great things. Like there's this actor for sorry to cut you off, Carrie. There's an actor for Black Clover, and I just love the way he does his. He's the Japanese actor for Black Clover. Does he every time he talks, it's just like this. He draws out every, like, and it's high. And I love how he does it. Like, I've been like, shit. I'm like, how is his voice doing that? Because he is just really, like, his character is like on all the time. So I really appreciate that stuff, and it gives me ideas on what I can do for my characters. Like, you know, how I can, you know, vocally outlast, you know, last for some of my stuff I have too. So
yeah. We got from the chat, because we're towards the end of it all here. We have Ghazi Asaf. Sorry if I said it wrong. One said everyone was incredible.
Oh, and
real quick, give an answer, because we're pretty much towards the end of our time. What was the most challenging during this episode? I mean, I feel like we've covered it recording at home, but if you have anything else to add, most difficult for this episode, Greg.
I mean, the screaming is always the hardest there. Any sort of yelling and screaming. I don't know in this particular episode, I haven't had a chance to watch it back, but I didn't.
You didn't have any screaming. No.
Oh, okay. Well, then there wasn't really challenging. Anything challenging about it, honestly.
Recording from home.
Yeah.
Imari?
I will say the emotion. I will say the different variants of degrees of emotion that Bercouli had to have was very complex, right? So I think me tapping into that and not going extra because I am an extra person. And so like one of the challenges with Bercouli is you have to kind of draw him back because he's so confident in that. And I'm like, and that's just not me. I'm not very calm, cool, collected. I am to most part when it comes to certain things, but like emotional things like that, like battle and stuff like that, I kind of like get hyped up over. And so with Bercouli, it was more like, when I did have to yell, like to what degree do I yell? And then the fight scene was sort of like, the choreography for that had to be spot on and perfect. And so I think there was the pressure I put on myself to make sure that
don't forget the technological problems
and the technological problems too.
That didn't help.
Yeah, and that didn't help either because we just had a kind of because it kind of took us out of the whole like we'd find like a good groove and then all of a sudden you're like shit. And then I could hear in Alex's voice like, "Hot damn!" Like it was really, really good, but I can't hear what you just did. I'm sure it would sounded good, but we need to kind of get that to make sure that we have a backup. So that part was kind of like, and it happened right in the pivotal point of us really recording those stuff. So that was mildly frustrating, but but then when you're spending time with friends and people you're learning from, you're sort of like happy to go through that experience with them because you wind up coming out tougher in the end. I think anyway. So I think that would be the most difficult part of that episode.
Then, Alex, anything else to add on that?
I mean, again, I'll just say that the recording from home thing just sucks balls. It's just, and if you're into sucking balls, it sucks ass. And if you're into sucking ass, it fucking sucks. I don't like it because we cannot do this. Like we can't see each other. It's bandwidth that we cannot afford to waste. So we can hear each other, and that's great. But as a director, I like eye contact because it's always great to just have the actor there in the booth through the glass. Hey Imari, I'm thinking more of this, and Imari always looks over. And so I could always go, I think he needs to be a little more, something like that. I wouldn't even say anything. I'll just get into a pose and stuff. Yeah. We roll, Imari gets it. Same with Greg. I'm thinking a little less of this, Greg, and a little more of just like this, or something like that.
Well, then sometimes you give me stuff like a little more of this, and I don't know what you mean. And that's
what I will say about Alex is that I know Alex's looks, right? When he's happy with the scene. When he's happy, but we could do a little bit more. He does this thing where he goes, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna ask me to do this, and then if I give it to him, right, if I give him 2 takes, he'll be like, oh yeah, that last take, yes.
I do a great Alex Von D impression, by the way.
I love it. I love it.
What's your impression?
My favorite thing that you do is that if you give me a note and I don't get it right, it's not what you want. You go, ooh, like
the ooh,
yeah, maybe. Oh,
that was a good effort. Yeah, yeah. The ooh.
Oh no,
you're so right.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I'll try and burn that out of me.
No, it's hilarious. I love it.
No, you can't just. That's who you are, which is great. Which is what, like.
Apparently, this episode turned into a roast as well.
No, not at all.
I don't mind. It's always great to find out these things because then I can go back and I could be like, oh my God, I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole director. No, I got to change that.
No. One of the things that I find extremely endearing are how I could read you. Like I need to read you. Like that's communication, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the beautiful thing about it. So like when I know I do well, I can look over because I mean you're also trying to there's also certain lines you have to write in an episode too. We let's say if we have to redo stuff or just not fitting the flaps, then we have to kind of like make it. So that's pressure on Alex as well. Like there's like he's like shit, I got to rewrite that, make it sound good, like to the original, but we have to make the flaps work. And then we have to deliver it in a way that it's going to sound good. So I need to make sure that I'm doing my job. And the way I do that is I look at Alex all the time. I'm always kind of like, I'm like this, and I can read him. I feel he's saying, so I understand where he's coming from, which makes,
it's like the eye contact is so, it's like just something simple like eye contact can like convey all sorts of amazing things. And, so recording from home, I get it. We're doing it the best we can. It's not as fast as recording in the studio. Just because we have to wait for the engineer to put the line into place and play it back. And then, there are some other adjustments that need to be made. But after this episode, after these next 2 episodes, again, I kind of figured out what I had to let go of. If the actor is seeing the picture and they're hearing the preview in Japanese and there's no lag, we just go for it. And if it's a little short, we'll make an adjustment, take 2s up, make the adjustment. Does it work? Are all the nuances there? It's pretty much what I do if we're all together in the same studio anyway. It's just that a lot of times I won't be able to actually see it exactly as the engineer is seeing it. The engineer, in this case, Matt Wallenman at Bang Zoom. I'm not seeing it exactly the way he's seeing it when he puts it into place. So I'm always asking, is it in sync? Because I don't know, I may have a lag or something. And if he says it's in sync, I'll say, play it back one more time, just so that I'm cool with how everyone's playing the line. If it's ending the right way, for the next actor to play off of, in case we haven't got that person recorded. So, giving up that kind of control was a little difficult for me at first, but now it's like, engineer, take it.
Right.
I trust you. So, but it still sucks. It still sucks.
Alrighty. I think it's great that you're being honest about it, because so many people, they're just on the receiving end of like, cool, I get to see my show, but they don't know how much effort is being put into it. So it's definitely on everybody involved's part to make it, produce it to the best of their abilities, and get it out so that we can actually watch it. So
which everybody is trying to do. Obviously, you'll hear a lot of like back and forth. Some people will be like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing. I never have to leave the house." But for me, since I adapt the shows that I work on anyway, this is where I'm at. You're literally like this is the computer that I use to work on. This is my desk. It's sitting on my desk. This is my life for most of these shows. Recording 2 episodes takes like a week, if that. Writing those 2 episodes takes about a week and a half, if I'm lucky. So most of the time I spend is at home. Why do I want to keep spending it at home?
Right.
Like, exactly. I'd love to go out. I'd love to go out to the studio. I'd love to actually see Greg, see Imari, give him a big old hug, say, hey, what's going on?
Right.
Okay, this is what's going on in the show. We're sitting there talking. We're looking at each other. It's true. There's an element missing from this recording from home process that we are never going to get. And that's being in the same space, sharing it together, and working off of that energy, because that energy, you feel it. And so I'm hoping, I watched all the mixes of Sword Art, and it all sounds the same as when we were working in studio, thank God. But I hope that energy, that the audience doesn't feel that the energy is somehow different, because now we're recording under different circumstances. That's what I was worried about the most when we started.
They feel the same to me, but
good.
We'll see how people respond. Yeah, no, it doesn't feel like, how did they record? No, it sounds like it was before. So y'all are doing great.
Good.
But I do totally understand what you mean, but I think it's coming across well. And yeah, if you're watching the show, can you tell if there's a difference? Leave comments, let me know.
In the comment section.
Yeah, leave it down below. All right. So we're at the end of our time. Let me know, where can people find you online, or let everybody know where they can find you online. And if you have any projects that you would like to promote, either that have been out kind of recently or that you want to share, Greg.
You can pretty much find me Greg Chun VA everywhere. And tonight at 8, so in about an hour and 40 minutes, I'm doing my live stream where we're reorchestrating the Final Fantasy VI opera scene. So I'm doing an orchestral remaster on that. So if you're around, come check it out. It's gonna be fun.
Oh wow!
Oh, awesome! I'll check it out.
And then Imari.
Mine is I didn't even know you guys could do that with your signs. That's not right. I'm like, God damn it. You can find me on Twitter at Imari. Well, here's how you spell my first my finger.
You can change it super quick.
There it is right here. There's Imari, and then you add speaks at the end of it. It's Imari speaks.
It's also in the description of this video as well.
All right, cool. There we go. So I'm on Twit. I have people trying to join me on Instagram, and I'm gonna create a fan page on Instagram because I have a lot of like personal things on my Instagram page. But I people ask to join my Instagram, and my heart's always like, oh, I need to do like a fan page for Instagram because I'm sure people are like, Mari's an asshole because he won't let me be on his Instagram page. But I just have a lot of like,
I'm sure they're all thinking that.
Well, that's your homework tonight. Go make a fan account.
So do that. So
yeah. All right, and Alex.
Right there. That's my Twitter handle. At Alex Von David. That's the only social media I'm on. Thank God. Thanks, Greg.
And then I was gonna say these two Dragon's Dogmas over on Netflix.
Yes. I have to like I have that queued up right now, man. I've been going to bed so early, but it's on my next queue for Netflix. So
I hope you like it.
I didn't even know I didn't even know you freaking did that. I was like, I saw you mentioned something. I was like, oh shit, Alex did that.
Yeah, that was my first original animation.
Oh,
yeah, that was my first group record.
It's definitely not gonna be the last, my friend. I'm telling you that right now. So like,
I hope the next one goes a little better because oh my god,
there's a process. There's definitely a process.
God, the first 2 episodes was a nightmare.
But that's not supposed to be like anything supposed that's beautiful is birthed out of effort. So you know.
Go follow there and. Man, it really is like backwards.
We're all pointing.
Yes. Anyway, cool. Thank you. Then you can go check out my channel over here, Carrie D Lane on Instagram, and I interviewed this guy and that guy, a long form interview as well. So go check those out. They're on the IG TV stories.
I can't. It's all backwards on my camera. I can't.
No, me too. It's like which way? But yeah, if you go over to the Carrie D Lane on Instagram, just click the IGTV and you can see interviews with a whole bunch of voice actors as well as these two awesome folks down below. And as you can see with the name, go find me on Carrie D Lane on Twitter as well. And these videos should be every Sunday night, Monday, early in the day. Just kind of depends on when guests are available. But generally tune in for a Sunday, Monday, and go follow me on Twitter because I will announce it. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for having us, Carrie.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. It was really cool. Thank you.
Excited to see what comes up for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Tasty.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you next time. And bye.
Well, that was fun.